Long time, no video. We did manage to get some of the planned videos for RPG A Day out into the world for you to see, but a lot of work, some new and interesting writing challenges, and some fascinating and irritating hardware, software problems have all kind of conspired to make it so that video production pretty much came to a stop. Well, maybe that last problem has been solved. The busyness and the cool writing projects still continue. But here's a video. This is an introduction to a series. And I don't know how long the series is going to run, but it's for Call of Cthulhu. Now, I had imagined that the next actual play series that I would run on the channel would be for Rivers of London, but this opportunity I kind of fell into. My friend, who you know from a lot of our actual plays, Ivan, from the Ivan Mike 1968 YouTube channel, Ivan received a copy of the 6th edition of Call of Cthulhu. And he realized at that moment that he'd actually never played original Call of Cthulhu. We had done Leagues of Cthulhu, and we'd done various other things around it and adjacent to it, such as a version of Call of Cthulhu I made for Mithras, which we called Mythos Mithras. So he said, would you mind running it? Of course, I don't mind running it. I love it. I've been running it forever and ever. So the purpose of it was really comparison. What is this game like? So me being me, I want to run games raw anyway. And so this was an opportunity to explore it. Now, we started out with the idea that it might have a small number of players. And then we decided, well, what if it was just one player? But in the back of my mind, I was hoping, what if other people could join as the investigation continued? This is something I'd done long ago, and I'd always wanted to do again. And that's exactly what happened. We ran one solo session for Ivan's cub reporter working for the Boston Post. And then he brought in a new character, played by Joe Richter of the Hind Sightless RPG podcast, which you can find on Spotify and other places. He came in as a true crime reporter, a little rougher around the edges sanity-wise, had seen a lot of horrible things, but neither of these two journalists, for want of a better word, had any experience with the occult or with mythos activity. But everything that they were encountering was pushing them in directions outside their expertise. And so these two gentlemen, pretty much at the end of their rope one dark and frigid night, recruit a third individual to join, an antiquarian who might help explain some of the background of what it was that they had stumbled into and why it was that a noted local socialite there in Boston in November of 1931 might have suddenly and supernaturally been abducted. So, at the point where I'm recording this introductory video, we have played through 3 sessions, and each session runs somewhere between 1 hour and 2 hours. None of them have actually gone to 2 hours yet in terms of playtime, and I've been editing them pretty heavily to cut out the drops or, moments of silence and that kind of thing, so that they all run somewhere around an hour and 10 or 15 minutes. There'll be more, but at this point, I think we have established the tone of play. We haven't exactly settled down into a culture of play for this particular campaign, but that's part of why I'm sharing this. So to finish off this introductory video, what is the purpose of this? Well, this is to demonstrate, one, how a mystery can be conducted. Not the way to conduct a mystery, but one way in which an investigation of a mysterious event can be conducted. And there'll be other videos that, explore the "what were you thinking" methodologies for the game master. In this moment, what were you thinking? Usually I have annotated videos on the channel. That hasn't really changed, but no long messages about what I was thinking in the videos. Just some notes about some rules items and that sort of thing, or current conditions of the characters, or historical context for the situation that we're experiencing have been salted through. And there have been some dramatic flourishes added to the videos to make them a little easier to watch. And one of these notes appears, you're going to hear a foghorn. So if you're doing something else and letting it play in the background, when you hear that foghorn, that's your signal that something has appeared on the screen. It might be important, it might not. It might be your opportunity to look at a handout or a map or a city street to help you immerse in the imaginative process of it all, or it might simply be a detail about the game system. Anyway, that's first. How can the game be conducted? Second is an experience. One of the things that we've talked about for a long time on the channel is the divide between playing to produce story as the product of your play, and playing to produce an experience. So story is simply a byproduct. We can't escape story in either direction on this spectrum, nor do we really want to. But we don't have to play with it. We don't have to apply tools that allow us to manipulate it. We don't need to speak with each other in ways that allow us to manipulate it. We can instead focus on that information which allows us to gain insight into the experience of the character, and maybe even imagine ourselves directly in the position of the character, and maybe even, if all of these things align and we're the type to go that way, maybe even immerse in the experience of the character. There's lots of things to immerse in. Very few of them are actually immersion in character, but it does seem to be a very popular one, and it's a very popular one in my circle of friends and players. And so playing BRP is an opportunity to experience, explore, and through these videos, observe how system can matter to that experience, and how the shift between playing the game and using the mechanisms to play the game and experiencing the character through which you're playing the game, how switching between these levels can have an effect on things like mood and atmosphere, on your ability to hang on to what you're imagining, your ability to immerse in what you're imagining, and so on and so forth. So it's an opportunity to explore that one more time for me, as an opportunity to experience that for the first time with BRP for Ivan, and maybe for Joe, and maybe for Brian, and to share it with you. And then the last thing is that simply to enjoy play. Right? We have some novice investigators, we have a curious situation, and we have strong motivations built in for why these gentlemen might want to get to the bottom of it and not just, pass it off to the police, that sort of thing. So I hope all of that is interesting to watch. One of the things that has played out really well is what I alluded to at the beginning, which is by slowly beginning this, let's say, mystery or this investigation with one character, who then passed it on to a new character, and they then bring in a third character, there has been a lot of rich and involved roleplay where all of the players have things to say through their characters that don't involve me having to, from a meta position as the game master. Doesn't involve me feeding them information that they need or giving them handouts or whatnot so they know what to say, and we don't have to just gloss over it, right? So you explain stuff. They actually have a real conversation between these characters about details that they each know and have experienced in play. And we're going to do everything we can to maintain this technique of play. This is one I enjoy a lot. Similar to, when we were kids and someone got different information from someone else, we would go out of the room with them and whisper it to them or pass them a note and this sort of thing. So there will be solo play during solo moments in this series, this campaign possibly. And there'll be moments where everyone comes together. There'll be times where characters are observing solo play, and there'll be times when it's just one character playing with me for the entirety of the video. So that's what this series is about. That's what this playlist is about. You'll be able to find links in the description. The description box is just below here, down where the like button and that sort of stuff is. Be able to open that description box up. You'll be able to link to the different players who are involved and other videos in the series and that sort of thing. So I hope you enjoy this experience, which is shared in the spirit, as always, of showing some of the ways that we play, right? Sometimes our actual plays are about learning the game, and so it's about sharing that information, but also sharing a look at the process of it. This time, we're just sharing the experience of play. So I hope you'll come along with us and watch it as it develops. Anyway, until the next video, take care.